All right, guys, things are now starting off. It is your boy, it is your host, Zor Frost, otherwise known as Patrick Daly. Yo, thanks for the hand claps. We're definitely doing our show today. This is my special guest. Feel free to introduce yourself.
My name is. Uh, People might remember me as 2 Meter and WoW, but it's risky business in Overwatch.
Well, we got a good show today. We're going to be talking about a multitude of different things, and just like any other podcast, we are lightly going to skim the topic. So, the topic today will pretty much be about Donald Trump's influence on our culture right now. You know, like we've been PC for so long. You know, for the last, specifically really hardcore in the last like 4 or 5 years. We've had so many different introductions of people not being properly represented in how you identify to them, and
Yeah.
it makes everyone terrified of speaking their mind. You know, like you can't use phrases like transgender, even though that's the identification. You know, I don't know the correct identity term for it, but I like if anybody has the right terms, feel free to leave it in the comments below. But how do you feel? That's enough of me talking.
How do I feel about just the PC culture in general?
Yeah, PC culture and our favorite president.
Maybe it's your favorite president.
Hey,
Uh,
he's our president.
he is our president. That is true. That is very true, and that's why you'll never hear me say, um, on purpose. You'll never hear me say just Trump or just Obama or just Bush. I will always put I mean, he's the president. That's There's nothing we can do about that,
Oh nah, you gotta respect the office.
right? So he's the president. He's making the office look like ass, but you know, hopefully this too will pass.
I don't know. There's a good chance that he might get elected again. People find
he's
him.
gonna get he's gonna get elected again.
You
And
feel so?
I do. I think he will. If well, let me caveat that with something. If this November we don't take back at least one of the houses, he's gonna get reelected.
Oh, so
So
you're a Democrat.
I am. Yeah. Now I didn't used to be, as you know from way back. I used to be a very
Cons-
right
and
wing,
conservative.
conservative, young Earth Christian, weird guy. Yeah, that was me a long time ago. But
What
things
changed?
change. Things change. You learn new things and you adapt. So. Oh,
Oh,
and I didn't mention in my introduction, beyond just that name. Um, I grew up in Wisconsin and Las Vegas, and I'm a 20-year military veteran, and combat tours, etc. So there's that.
hey, well, shoot. How was your time in the army? Like,
Good, man. I mean, I went up in the ranks, sergeant first class, got hurt, I couldn't go up anymore. Did my 20 years, retired, and now I still work for the government. So there's that.
oh, that's not bad. How do you feel about veterans losing their health benefits and everything? Like, you heard about the reduction.
Well, so it's not so cut and dry like that. And I don't even know if I should talk about it because
Nah,
I
feel
do.
free.
Well,
Like,
I don't know. So here's let me just be completely honest. So I work for the VA. So um, I don't know that level of what's going on. I'm just a guy at the bottom.
gotcha.
But veterans aren't losing any benefits. What's happening is this presidency, this administration, is trying their hardest to implement a plan that Ronald Reagan wanted to do way back, and that is to privatize this institution. And so what's happening is something called a choice program, where it sounds really good, and it is really good for people. The problem is you then outsource all this care that would normally happen at the VA to private doctors who then charge whatever they charge, and then the government pays them. Okay?
All right.
That's how that's working. So before this, what happened is if you went to the VA and you got referred out somewhere, the cost of that appointment was the same as going to the VA.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely a little bit of confusion I had cleared up.
So, the cost to the government is I'm talking big picture cost to the government here. Now, because they want to privatize things, think about like prisons and how well that's working out being privatized. When you have quotas and stuff that you have to meet, you have to have this many beds filled to get money from the government. Oh, you didn't make parole? Oh, yeah, it's clearly because you're guilty, not because we need beds here.
That's scary, man.
That's the craziness of it.
That sounds horrible. Like we're well. Do you think that it's do you think it's gonna be like okay in the long run? Because everything sounds like
everything's falling to shit right now, right?
Well, pretty much.
But everything's gonna work out, and I think that's gonna happen sooner than later. Because here's the problem I see with our president, and you saw my Facebook post on this. I think he's a guy who lets other people tell him how he should feel about other people. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
Right. So when he says, let's take, I don't know, anyone that has been in his cabinet that is no longer in his cabinet, and say, these are the greatest people, and I'm putting them in the White House. And then as each one got fired, they were garbage, they were horrible, they were dog, et cetera, et cetera.
Shout out to Scaramucci real quick. He's my favorite.
And so that whole shit. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
we were talking about Trump's influence on culture, bro. Anything you have to say about that is totally fine.
Okay. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be all right.
Like how so though?
The next president. So think about when Bush was president, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Barack Obama got elected. Now I was still on the other side of the fence at this point. The argument against Barack Obama, President Obama, was that he only had served one term as a senator, and he was a freshman senator, and he was unqualified, right?
All right.
So what you don't get with this president is that same speech from the right. They just eat this thing up. So what's going to happen is when we get another actual good political candidate that's going to run for president, they're going to steamroll this fool into the ground just by being smart.
As long as they're not Hillary.
Oh my God! I keep getting these emails from should Hillary run for? No,
she's fucking poison.
She should not.
No, she's
exactly. Even if she was, I don't even know what the equivalent would be. I'm not religious, but like if she was the whatever.
She's Satan's right hand.
I would say no, because look at the damage that's already been done without her ever being the president.
Oh yeah. So, we can't ignore. Yeah, we can't ignore Benghazi. She's been quote unquote cleared of charges. Like nobody trusts you, bitch. Like let's I don't want to be calling her a bitch like that, but let's be real. She seems untrustworthy, and we know she has a shady past. But
even take that into consideration. We absolutely 100% know that about this president.
Oh yeah,
And yet, the other side wants to pretend like they don't see it.
well,
And they're being kidnapped by this president, dragging themselves down into a hole that they are not going to be able to come out from. What's going to happen is the Republican Party is going to disintegrate, and the libertarians, which are basically Republicans who just don't want to call themselves Republicans, are going to come to the forefront. And Democrats are going to eat. We're going to eat ourselves because we keep sliding further to the crazy left as the right keeps sliding to the crazy right.
like Antifa.
And us in the middle, us people are looking around going,
What
"You
to
all
do?
are stupid."
That's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're
definitely
the
agree.
ones that are told, "Oh, well, you have to do this, and you have to vote this way, and you have to vote that way." I don't have to vote anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've had this argument with a couple people, but you have to vote, and a
Yes,
lot of people,
absolutely.
a lot of people just don't get it, and it's not really for the president because we know the electoral college. You know, like you can have 90% of the United States citizens vote for somebody and still lose the president candidacy.
Mhm.
Yeah, think
Yeah.
about the electoral college is fucked.
It's because of gerrymandering.
Yeah, pretty much. And on top of that, you know, those that have money have power over it to sway them
Exactly.
either direction.
There's never been another point in history where the top percentage of people own more wealth than anyone else.
Than the bottom 95, and it's
Yeah.
it's fucking disgusting, bro. What's
It is.
what's scary about it is that we're caught in the middle because there's people that want to take action against those that have the 1% power and all
Yep.
the money accumulated, but they're thinking about not only themselves but their family and stuff. Hey, do I risk all that because the 1% could literally make you not have a job anymore? And it wouldn't be much of a flex. Not even a flex. It wouldn't even be a flex for them to do so. Hey, I don't know who this guy is. He's talking bad about
it
us.
wouldn't even be a flex. It would just be normal. Everyone would accept it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Y-
Because they're too big to fail, or they're whatever we bailed out all these companies in 2009 for, and now we're going, oh, these guys are not so good. No kidding. No kidding.
I actually think that a large part of why we're like this currently is because we're so desensitized to everything. Everything is promoted. You remember like a good like 10, 15 years ago where the social media and internet usage wasn't for such, fake news?
MySpace.
Wow, I remember MySpace, but even MySpace was just like bullshit posts about themselves. It wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't ever really
was-
political
it was-
or anything.
Instead of MMOs, it was like role playing games in chat rooms and shit.
Yeah, which was kind of cool when it first came out. But
Yes, it was.
I digress.
Oh, we could do a whole show on that. Shit.
Oh man, probably definitely a little bit down the line. I'm looking to definitely hear you a little bit more down the line, definitely, because we come from a gaming background anyway, and
Yep.
Yep. Like honestly, you could get a lot of people that are dicks in the community, the gaming community, but like
Yep.
for the most part, when you find somebody that you could just sit down and talk to about anything, that's something that you treasure, and yo, real funny, right? I was talking to this lady, right? This lady, man, she was just like, "Oh, you're immature." I'm like, "Wait, hold on. Let's cut this bullshit out for a quick second, right?"
What was the premise of this?
What
happened?
I was trying to talk to her sister, right? And I was trying to talk to her sister, and
Talk to her.
like talk to her, like, "Hey, what up? You about to be
Yeah.
my girl? Let's make this happen."
I got it.
So I'm talking to the sister, just as a light introduction, and she saw my Facebook. So then at the time I had Princess Mononosuke as a cover. She was like, "What is that you have on your front page?" I was like, "Yo, it's an anime about the struggle of a female overcoming all odds." "Oh, it's a cartoon. You're immature." I'm like, "Wait a second. Hold on. Who are you to tell me what I do with entertainment? I'm trying to talk to your sister. You are quite irrelevant. I don't even care if you're against me at this point. But let's be real. I came to talk to you to get to know you. You making prejudgments off of a cover photo that I have on Facebook. Like, you haven't met me and you already don't think that I'm qualified to be with your sister? Get out of
You know
here."
why though?
Why?
Because when you look at someone's picture on Facebook, you either see three things. You see a picture of them or a family member or a member of the family or something like that, right?
All right.
Or you see some kind of patriotic whatever from whatever country they might be. Or you see some meme about whatever. Okay?
Okay, I'll give you that.
So the meme about whatever seems to be much more prevalent than all the others. And so people automatically make judge. So for instance, if you went to, say you clicked on Joe Snuffy's page and it was a picture of Ted Cruz, and it said Ted Cruz for president 2020, Republicans all the way. We all are gonna make a judgment immediately upon seeing that picture, right?
All right.
Right? I mean, it's clearly he's not a Democrat. Right?
Oh,
like, yeah. A judgment is being made. Now, I'm not saying it's a negative or a positive. I'm just saying you are already
part of a group,
filtering that person out of a other category. And this is where the talk gets different, because we always talk about what categories people get put into, but we never talk about what categories people get put out of.
Yeah.
And so when you make a judgment based on someone's profile picture or what have you, you are taking them out of a category that they actually might be in, but you have already prejudged them. And that is part of the PC, well, not PC, but part of our culture today is we are quick to just
judge somebody.
Judge. Yep.
You know what?
Sorry about that.
No. I could care less if you talk over me, especially if you're trying to make a point. It's just like you remember when we were attacked by the Muslim people, right? A lot of people were terrified to eat.
How do you? So can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Is that how you always say it?
What, the Muslim people?
Attacked by the Muslim people.
It's funny. All right, so I think I used the wrong term when we were attacked by Muslim terrorists. Because to use Muslim people is just too broad. So when we were attacked by radical,
no, but the way you said it is what I was saying. Like you kind of said it like when we were attacked by, like you say it often. That's what I'm asking. Like, do you say it like that often?
Yeah, I have a lot of conversations with people. I think I phrase it generally the same.
Okay.
But like if it's quote unquote politically incorrect, then I will just use. I mean,
I don't care. So if you don't know, I don't care. You can say whatever about anybody you want, because here's my belief. Words are not gonna hurt you. Words can cause other people to do things, but words themselves, like separated by distance, if we're talking and all of a sudden a heated conversation, like the next day it would be like, yo man, let's talk about this. But at the time, like we could get heated about it,
Yeah.
Where in person, again, in our culture today, and this is gonna all tie back into what we're talking about. It used to be. How old are you? Sorry, that was my phone.
I was like, yo, I thought somebody was angry at you, bro.
Rick and Morty. Yeah, it might be. It is Facebook. So today, or how old are you?
I am currently. Let's just say I'm over 30.
Go.
Yeah, I'm over 30-ish.
Over 30, younger than 40?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
older than 40.
I'm 44.
Ooh.
I think I'm 44. I don't know. I was born in 74.
Yo,
so,
quick.
So, yeah, go.
I was gonna do some quick math, but fuck it. Like 44 sounds good enough, man.
Yeah, 40, 44, 40, somewhere in there. Anyway, so you probably remember. You were probably a lot younger, though. But I remember a day when you had beef with someone. You went out to the bike racks and commenced whooping ass, and then everyone gathered around and cheered on whoever they cheered on, and then afterwards it was a Friday night and you went to the same damn party and drank the same damn beer. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Now, today, what happens is the guns come out right away.
Oh yeah.
Ain't no fists no more.
No,
Ain't no fists no more.
nah, they
Like, there's no fighting no more. Like, anyone you run into, like, it used to be you could size someone up. You'd be like, oh, okay, because I was the loud. I am not, for the listening audience, a big guy. All right, I am 5'8". I was 135 pounds when I joined the army when I was 22 years old. So
so skinny.
I was not a big guy, but I was the biggest shit talker. The biggest shit talker. I mean, anyone I grew up with would tell you, like, this is how we got in fights, because I would run my mouth. And it wasn't because I thought I was a badass. It was just because that's who I am. And it wasn't until later, it wasn't until I joined the military that I realized this is my personality, right? Like, everyone has their personality. And so what we have to find as a society is the pulse on the personality that our society accepts.
Oh, so like our social moral code.
Yes.
Okay. I can see that.
That's it. We have tilted so far that we don't quite have. I understand. So here's another thing. Like, I understand where people come from when they say, I think, or I want to make America great again, or whatever. And then when you ask them,
How?
for who? You know, like, for who? Because what you want to go back to for you was great. For some people who don't look anything like you, was not so great, right?
Yeah.
And so we have tilted so far away from where we can even talk about that, even in a way that's talking about the numbers, right? Like the history of it, the facts of it, the all that. It just always devolves into this yelling match of you're racist and you're not racist, or they are racist even though they say they're not, and they're not racist even though they say they're racist, and then it just goes back and forth depending on, you know, which end of society you have flexed to.
Well, all right. Let me say this. Let me adjust my mic. I think I sound pretty good. All right.
You do.
When I talk to people about racism, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that the people that are the most racist don't want to talk about it. It sounds funny. It's like, hey, let's make America great again, and I'm like, when? When was America? No, when in America?
Oh, they tiptoe around it, right? Like, they never even like bring it up. They just talk about all the things that were around it.
Yeah, it's like, so. I'm like, so what time period? You know, you try to like bring them into the conversation, like, you know, when was this? You know, when was all this greatness that you're talking about? You know,
because if it was before 1964, that's a shitty time.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, so you would love to see me in chains or like segregated against my people? Like, you have to understand, non-racist people, they would want to have a conversation, because not only are they looking for understanding, but they're looking to you know, solidify that, you know, like, racism is here, I got your support. You have to understand, African Americans now, especially when it comes to police violence, that we are just looking for people of like minds so we can move forward.
Absolutely.
You know, like, it's a little scary, because like, you come across some people that immediately do this shit. I swear to God, bro. Like, I almost had to punch this guy in his face. Well, what did he do wrong? Bitch, I just showed you the footage. You got to go?
I got to turn this down.
Yeah, because I'm like, I just needed a solid hour with you to talk about some shit, and I got somebody screaming in the background. Like,
I'm sorry. Rick and Morty just, you know. Anyway.
Great show.
Go. Sorry.
Nah. It's all right. But they immediately go after watching a videotape, right, where a young black man lost his life, unarmed. Even in police reports, he's unarmed. And they would watch the video, and I would watch it with them, because telling somebody to watch something by themselves
They
Yeah,
see something different,
they
man.
see something definitely different, and I don't have a problem with that. If you see something different, let's talk about it.
Exactly.
But when you
Exactly.
go, oh, this guy, he's definitely in the wrong, and I'm like, how? Like, if somebody's wrong, if I'm wrong on a test, right, I get a poor grade, right? If I'm
Exactly. But you know why you're wrong.
yeah, I know why I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, does that mean that you get the police school guard to beat me up on from a test? That's what I'm trying to say. Like the point is, why should I have
Yeah.
to die? Right?
Exactly.
Like someone losing their life is a serious thing. Why do I have to die unarmed and unprovoking you?
So
Just
imagine for a moment
mm-hmm.
you're in the military.
I actually tried
and
to
and
sign for it.
you're surrounded by nothing but hardcore patriotism, regardless of any type of questionable aspect. Like it's just like, oh, you know?
Yeah, America, America.
Yes. And then you're the guy that's standing there going, hold on a second. So the new president, okay, cool. But weren't you guys all the ones talking shit about the old president? But now this guy who has no experience, now he's the president, and you guys are cool.
Oh yeah, for like Obama wasn't perfect. He definitely did a lot of shit during his term. But you know,
guy killed a lot of dudes,
yeah,
a lot of people. He killed a lot of people. Now I don't say that lightly because I am a military member, so I know. I know the decision wasn't like, well, do I kill innocent people or blah blah blah. Like, there's none of that.
yeah,
You know, like there are things that happen that are unfortunate, and I'm not trying to make light of anything or explain it away. I'm just saying I understand that sometimes a decision has to be made, and right, wrong, or indifferent, that mission has to be carried out. You know,
yeah,
someone has at some point. This is what we argue about in society all the time. Someone has to stand up for XYZ. Well, that's the same thing. At the end of the day, someone has to make a decision, and that decision has to be made. It doesn't matter what it is. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if the mission would have happened or not happened. The decision that led to either one of those outcomes still had to be made.
yeah. It, it we're at war. I mean,
Yeah.
during the time, and even now. Oh my God, I'm gonna get into Putin a little bit later in this conversation, but for current topic, during the time, Obama was making these. We got to make some kills.
Mhm.
It was under his presidency, but we were at war. It wasn't like
Yep.
yeah, it wasn't like I'm mad at this country out of nowhere. I'm just gonna fucking politically
Right.
wise, he has every political reason backing why he killed those people.
Correct.
Like
Yes, I agree.
if you're talking about from a social standpoint, like between the normal guy, I don't think that he needed to kill as many people. But he was searching for an answer, man, and he gave the public what they wanted. You know how?
And see,
Good.
that's why I say, like, there's two types of conversations when we're having these, right?
Mhm.
There's the social conversation where me and you are just doing what we're doing. We're batting ideas around and just talking.
Yeah.
And then there's the political conversation where you have to take into consideration all these other aspects to include society that go into those discussions. So this is where I think our president found himself in some deep waters where he thought that you can run a government like you can run a company. And he has found out that is not so much. And he's trying to find people who can basically run his company, quote unquote, which is now the US, for him, and not realizing that he can't just be the CEO. He has to actually be the person out front representing. And I don't think he took that into account when he ran.
Yeah. That's mostly because in this generation, we're so social. Like Presidents before Obama would make a speech at their leisure. Now with social media and all of access to internet, presidents have to be more vocal. I don't think he
Yep.
was prepared for that because the idea of being a social president is lost on most people because he's never talking to the public. He's talking to a bunch of reporters. He's talking to other political members and things, but not the American people, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So
I,
I'm not trying to defend him. Fuck him. I'm just being.
yeah, fuck him. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're on
like-
the same page.
Like he's our president. I respect him as President Trump, but I don't.
There you go.
I don't respect him as a person.
Oh, we are on the same page, brother.
Yeah, like I'm never gonna sit here and be like, oh, fuck the presidency, because that's ignorant
Yeah, that does no good
for no one.
Yeah. Hey, can you give me? Hold on, someone's at my door. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no
Sorry.
problem, man. Yeah, so until you returned, he had a surprise guest of his own. So we're pretty much reviewing, just the general topic of what we're talking about. Like, having a vet explain some things to me has really opened my eyes, and I'm hoping that we get to the point where we can understand a lot more. We're not really talking to each other. Like in our society, we're talking at each other. It's actually a little bit sad, but like everybody wants understanding. Most people just want their understandings to be understood against everybody else. But we are our people. If we don't talk about some of these things, it'll fade. The importance of it will fade. We're already gradually becoming desensitized to a large majority of everything we're seeing. I have spoken to some people that I admire, but they've lost the fight. They've lost the will to fight for what they believe in, because they feel that we are getting all these knowledges. Like we're getting a lot acknowledged. That police are going too far with them trying to kill us, as well as a lot of terrible things happening, and people would usually get upset. And for the most part, what we have here now is we have people that just go, well, that's the way it is. Let's just, give up. And it really goes pretty bad, because if we're all heavily desensitized, we can't make the moves that's best for everybody. And that was just my point until you came back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope that your mystery guest didn't leave.
Nah, the mailman.
Oh man, that guy, he
Always coming, bringing me stuff I don't want.
yeah, man, like these things that make you have to pay money. Ugh.
Ah, right.
Ugh.
Jeez.
The terror. Who pays those guys?
Right. Oh my God. Did you see that meme I put up the other day? It said, it's like a union meme. It says like, I've never bought anything with money. I've bought everything with pieces of time. I sold to a job who will never have enough.
Oh, I think I saw like a light glimpse of it, but damn, bro, that's deep as it is right now.
Right.
Yeah, but it is true. Like we, in the terms of money, a person can't work quote unquote minimum wage and support his family in some areas.
No.
And
Bro, I can tell you right now. Look, I make over $20 an hour. Okay.
all right, that's pretty healthy.
I also have a retirement, and I also have a disability. So I'm doing good. Like, I'm fine. But I'm gonna tell you what. When I went to work after I got out of the Army for the VA, I was like, oh, $20 an hour, man, that's awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say over 20 because it's a pay scale from start to end. Like it goes
Gotcha.
from GS7 to GS10 if anyone's interested. They'll look it up. They have general scale. Anyway, general service numbers. So where I am in Phoenix, we get like a 19% or like 20% locality pay, because of the cost of living. So ours is a little bit more. But even at that, at $20 an hour, at 40 hours a paycheck, at now here's the thing, I put 8% of my total earnings into a TSP, a savings fund,
All right.
basically. And then the job, if you're in a job worth a damn, they will match your
You
retirement savings. So your Roth IRA, stuff like that. I don't know anything about that shit. I just know I'm putting money into it. All right. Like if you want a finance class, I know a guy. I know a guy. But so 8% of that, right, and then taxes. My take home after that is under $1,000 at $20 an hour.
wow, dude. That
Now people will say, well, that's because you're putting almost 10% of your pay into my future. Correct.
yeah, no, we're not gonna be young forever.
Yeah, like when people think, like, because I used to do the same thing. I used to think, oh, I'm not gonna put $500 a month away or something. Like I need that money right now to buy whatever, like whatever was shiny at the time, right? Because that's really why we spend money. And then it was like, I'm sorry, get me back on track again.
All right, first of all, we're talking about
Money.
having $20 an hour and
Yeah,
still not having.
under-
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so under $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I live in a little 2-bedroom apartment that's like, I think 900 and some square feet. It's fine for us. It's just the two of us. And this we got a deal on this because we live in downtown Phoenix. So this apartment that we live in, this little tiny thing. Now I know I'm not telling you anything, New York, but just hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, because you're gonna be like, what? I pay $1,300 a month for this. All right,
How many bedrooms?
2
2 bedrooms. All right.
2 baths.
Two baths.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I get it. You're in New York. I don't know why you're still in New York, but you're in New York.
I'm looking to get out of here real soon. I gotta just save up some money, man.
So the other thing is, in Arizona, they have that minimum wage that isn't minimum wage, so it's above the minimum wage. It's like $10 and something an hour here for minimum wage jobs. So there's that. One red state that does something right.
Hey, let's go.
But so this apartment normally is like 1,700, right? But
Mhm.
when we moved here, the apartment we were supposed to move into wasn't ready, so they're like, this one's ready, we're going to give it to you at this price. And it's like up front by the pool, all that stuff. So it's pretty good. But here's the thing, if only I was living on the paycheck I got, I wouldn't be able to afford this place. Think about that. That's $20 an hour, and I wouldn't be able to afford.
A place to live.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
and that's a job that requires a 4-year degree.
Yeah. You know what?
That's the crazy part.
You know what's sad? Only to add on from what you were saying is that trades are highly frowned upon socially. You know that, right? Like people are like, oh, you're a plumber? Ugh.
Oh yeah, trade skills.
Yeah, like, and they make an obscene amount of
Oh
money.
yeah, ridiculous.
I know a plumber, right? He switched from plumbing to roofing, and he makes a crap ton of money. I'm talking about people that make $36,000 an hour, like
Yeah.
plus. That's 30. They start at like $34.
Yeah.
And in society, be like, oh, so you play with shit? I'd be like, bitch, no. I'm working hard for my money. When I get off my job and I clean up nicely.
But we drove ourselves to that.
Yeah.
America did that to itself because we for about 40 to 50 years said, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college.
Make something of
and
yourself.
Now we're at a point where you need trade skill jobs. People, blue collar workers that are down there turning wrenches. And what you have is a bunch of college kids who have nothing but debt, no job, living with their parents, and still will not go and just get a job outside of their field.
Yeah.
Like the trade skill job, they did 4 years, right? So say they did 4 years in college and they don't have the job that they need. What's the problem with some people, not all, but calm down, college grads, is they don't want to take a job outside of the field that they just spent 4 years of their life getting a degree for.
I mean, technically, would you spend 4 years trying to get something and then settle for anything else?
No, I wouldn't settle for something else. But here's the thing that I grew up knowing, and I think my generation, maybe your generation, kind of grew up with the same kind of mindset. Get your foot in the door,
and then work your way up.
Living and work your way to where you want to go.
Yeah.
You can't just go, I'm going to hold out until I'm an anime animator. It's okay, but you need to start down here in the comics at the local freaking newspaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And we've lost that. I think our young generation has
entitlement. It just
parents that have still believed in this nuclear family idea of, you know, marriage, 2 kids and a half, and a dog and a white picket fence or whatever it is. You know, the Make America Great family.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's white with blue eyes and blonde hair.
That shit dead, bro.
Yeah.
Hey,
but that's the like these older generation people, like the grandparents, right?
Yeah.
I think once that people are gonna get mad about this, but be mad. I'll give you a cape and you can be super mad. All right. Once those people expire, once they're gone, I think our entire society will change. Now, I don't think I'm the first person that has ever said that in any generation, but I absolutely know that if you look at history, every progressive idea that has ever come along that moved society forward was because of the generation that came
before it.
The one that tried to tell you it was garbage. So our kids are going to be doing something, and I've had to do this myself. I have a daughter in her 20s, a son in his 20s. I got kids in their teens. I have to look at them when they say XYZ, because I'm thinking ABC, and they go XYZ, and I'm like, no, that's not right. That's incorrect. And then I have to remind myself, I'm like, no, they might be right. This is all new.
Oh man, you hold on. Only to comment on it. I think us, even in our generation, we hate Common Core math. What the fuck is that shit?
But see, so that's another thing. I think Common Core math is beautiful, and here's why.
Nah.
I'm dyslexic. All right. I'm dyslexic. So I have been doing math that way, with pictures in my head, not quite like how they do with the box, but. And anyone listening to this who is dyslexic understands what I'm saying. In their head, they have an image of what 5 + 2 is. That's what the answer is that image, and that's what gets written. Right? Now, that's what Common Core does when it takes that block and says, okay, a quarter of this is, and then blocks out a gray section of 1/4. Like, I'm saying 1/4, but you're imagining what I'm saying, right?
All right, yeah, I am.
That's what's in my head. Something like that, anyway. So those are the like, when Common Core came around, I was like, wow, they finally understand how um, math is intuitively understood. Because when you tell a child, take 7 from 10, what's the answer? And they go 3, and they're like, okay, why? Ask them why. Why is it 3? What happened to make it 3? Because we don't think of numbers as units of measure, right? Unless we were talking about feet or whatever. But we don't think of there's something there that is getting added to, taken away, divided by, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you had the whole universe laid out in front of you and you could create images to do all your math, that's what I see in my head. And that's what Common Core was trying to show, how intuitively math is, but yet kids do not understand, and it showed it with the parents. And I almost want to put my tinfoil hat on and be like, it was a social experiment to show how much people are locked into one way of thinking, right? Because the kids started to get it. They were like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. But all the parents, me included, was like, this is not how you learn math. It didn't matter that I thought it was the right way to do it. It was not the way it should be, right? And so when the older people die off, that idea of where we are now goes away. And the people who we identify with and who are growing up today, who are going to be in the next generation, are going to be the people who bring whatever the next thing is forward, and we launch ourselves to the moon again or whatever. It's we have to break the cycle of always wanting to keep things the same or make America great again, or like it's always changing, and it should always change.
I've never looked at it from that perspective, and I also, if I offended you for whatever such reason, because we live in a PC culture, I'm sorry. No. I was listening to you, and I never knew that for people that suffered from the similar things that you have, actually picture doing their math that way.
Well, I don't even know if that is everyone. I just know of the people I know. That is how we, and again, that could be one of the math things that we grew up learning this way, and now there's a different way, and they're, oh no, you can't, it could be one of those, and I just don't recognize it because it's a whole different. It'd be like asking a blind person who's been blind their entire life what color red is. Like, there's no way to explain it because it is just you and you've done it forever. It's like, explain your blackness, Patrick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's not, like, you can express how it feels to be dyslexic or black or white or green or what. I hate that, but what I can't believe I said that.
Yeah,
But
the
anyway,
green color, yeah, that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I hate that, but anyway.
uh,
So, you know what I mean? Like, you just are the thing. You can't explain. And so I don't get bent out of shape either when I know someone's racist, right? Like, when you talk to someone, you can kind of tell their view on whatever the subject is, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you talk to someone about race relations, certain people get
Yeah, they
real
up and defensive immediately.
and defensive immediately. Exactly. See, me and you are exactly on the same page. We know exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah, you see.
But guess what? I don't immediately go, oh, anything else this guy says, I'm not gonna even listen to.
You're not supposed
Right?
to. Yeah, like you have to understand. Even though picking a side, I hate saying this. A lot of people have a lot of because the Democratic and the Republican Party.
It's
Peop-
tribes.
Yeah, they're tribes. They literally they might not represent everything, but it's more than enough for you to fit yourself into that group. So
Exactly.
it's interesting, but I know some Democrats that's like like racist, but I know a fuck ton of Republicans that's like
Right.
racist. It's almost like they teach you because like all right, perfect example,
do.
right? Like on
They
the
do.
left side we have Antifa. Antifa is fucking terrible.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna sit here and
Well,
try
I
to
don't know
defend
if you
them.
saw my manifesto on that the other day.
Oh nah, I'm actually gonna look through your page when I get a chance. But Antifa is fucking terrible. But the alt right, bro, like,
Oh
yeah, the
God.
alt right scares the shit out of me. Hey, we are neo KKK guys. Welcome. We chose the
So
Republican Party and they allowed us in.
you know what's the funny thing though that you bring that up and you say Antifa in it. Like Antifa is just the word we give to people like that. Like it's like saying it's like if I said to you, like if I was on the street, you didn't know me from Adam, and I said, Black Lives Matters, huh? Well, what about blue lives? Right?
Oh my god.
What do you say? Exactly. But here's the thing. We all do it.
What
We
do you-
all do it. We all have a tribe that we belong to that we feel strongly about. That is called our belief system or our social circle or our like that's why rich people hang out with rich people. You don't see rich people and poor people hanging out because they have nothing in common. Right?
Yeah.
So you get into these circles and it's only when you have been part of a circle and you break away completely that you can look back and kind of see how you weren't actually part of that circle. You were just, or you weren't part of that tribe. You fit into that tribe because you made yourself fit in. Right?
All right.
And this is the problem with our society a little bit today is we have a culture that it is okay to always constantly and fluidly be changing what you believe in.
That-
right?
Okay.
Now I'm not talking about gender, sex. I'm talking about like political anything where like if you said, "Yeah, I know John and John is a Democrat who voted for Reagan because of this," right? Today, I can't look at certain people and be like, "Yeah, he's a Republican, but he doesn't, he likes Trump, but he doesn't like this other," you know what I mean? Like, it's like no one wants to take a stand. And a buddy of mine posted something where I said, it's enough is enough already, basically. Everyone on the left, everyone on the right, everyone in the middle, whatever. You have to pick a side. You have to. And I don't care what side anyone picks. I will still be your friend if you pick the opposite side of me. As long as our friendship hasn't been based on that we agree on those things. Because that's where you find out that your circle that you belong to, you actually don't belong to. So this is where, remember Herman Cain?
Yeah.
999?
Yeah, I remember.
People came out in droves for Herman Cain as Republicans because he was the only black candidate running at the time against Barack Obama. But the article, if you read the articles on Herman Cain, it was all it was all about how he overcame being black. That's basically, if you want to just be cut and dry about it, that's
I gotta look this up. This sounds amazing.
Now, I'm not saying that's what it said. I'm just saying that is how those articles were written. Whereas if you read an article about who is it? The Mormon guy. Yeah, him, the Mormon guy. So if you read an article about him, it's like, oh, he's the CEO of the company and he's done this. So Herman Cain was the CEO of Godfather's Pizza. They never went on to talk about anything about Godfather's Pizza except for he was the CEO of it or the CFO or whatever he was. But if you look at every article written about whoever it was that was running with him, like in that little Republican line, it was all about how their life was this and they did this and they've done that. And Herman Cain's was all about how he overcame his background and he overcame this and he overcame that. You know, it's like the narrative gets twisted now, right? We talk about people in their tribes. We don't actually talk about people
Individually.
individually.
Yeah. I you want to know why? Because usually when and I'm gonna use Paul Ryan as an example because he is something
Sure.
special. He
From my home state too. What a jackass!
Yeah, he's such a dumbass. I don't want to call him a dumbass. He is loyal to his party, and people that look at Paul Ryan and be like, "Yo, where's your integrity?" and then they blame it on the Republican Party.
Right.
It's you're supposed to attack the person. I'm not saying the Republican Party is all like super great and stuff. I'm far from it. But I like after looking at Paul Ryan take the knee, you have a bunch of other Republicans that Trump could pretty much say,
Wait, what? Paul Ryan did what?
no, take the knee. It's a sign of loyalty to somebody that.
Oh, I thought you meant like take the knee, like when the pledge. Like I was thinking, like when the national anthem went down, Paul Ryan took a knee. Because I was about to Google that and blow my mind.
Nah, he would never do that. His party.
That's what I thought you were saying. I was like, what?
I have a question because you're a vet, right? How do you feel about Colin Kaepernick? Because I know it had to pop up at least once.
Okay, so I'm not going to do the typical thing that every other white person might do and go, "Who's Colin?" Okay, I don't even watch football, but I know who he is. So
yeah, same here.
Says that they don't know who he is lying. So as a vet, I've always held to my oath that I defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So, I don't give a flying what anyone feels or thinks about anyone who takes a knee, who burns the flag, who walks all over it, who does anything. Because guess what? Until our Supreme Court changes how they feel about First Amendment rights, they feel just as adamantly about their First Amendment right as those people do about their Second Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you try to minimalize people and be like, oh, that's disrespect, it's not about that flag. It wasn't about the bus. It wasn't about the Olympics. It's not about the flag. You know, the idea that people cannot get past a piece of fabric that we're loyal to. Because what about other countries? You don't give a shit about those countries' flags. 196 other countries in the world, you don't give a shit about 196, 7 of them, or 95 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so why is it all this? Why? Because you were born in the right place at the right time? I mean, isn't it ironic that God works in such a mysterious way that where you're born, you were born into the right religion, the right circumstances, and you were the right color. You know what I mean?
That last part being key, but yeah, definitely.
But you know what I mean? Everyone has their they think that they're the shit. You know, let's just be honest about it. Everyone thinks they're the shit at something. Whatever you do, you're an anime guy, or you're the shit at that knowledge. Okay. Does that matter? Not to, you know, a physicist, but to another anime guy it does. You know, that's how I feel about comic books and religion and shit. I know that's a weird combo. But
yeah.
That's how I feel about, because like, I don't know if you know my whole story, but like I was on my way to be a preacher. Like that was my goal, and I got sidetracked by trying to prove God to someone, and I ended up where I am today.
Oh shit.
So, you know, I'm a person who believes that people can change, and that just because they're in a tribe today doesn't mean they're actually part of that tribe. They just feel that they're part of that tribe. And that's how I look at Trump President Trump voters, um, I don't look at them as and just go and the inclinations there. Believe me, I think we all have this to go racist, homophobic, bigoted.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The truth of the matter is, it's not true.
No,
Yes, there's a large portion of people who vote that way who may fit that bill, but not everyone. And so you cannot treat every person you meet in the same way, um, just because the tribe that they identify with. So outside looking in, you start to realize how you didn't fit into that tribe, and you don't fall for those things again. Or at least that's been my experience. Let's put it that way. I don't want to talk for everybody.
nah, I'm actually agreeing with you on that point. Actually, I was in my last podcast. I actually mentioned that not all Trump supporters are racist, even though
Yep.
a great portion of them do support that. And Trump support does come from a lot of KKK members. Like, even if they're quote unquote ex KKK members, I'm pretty sure, like, if a pastor passes his church along to somebody else and they're doing a really good job, if that pastor walks through the door, the new pastor referred to them as pastor.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That is true.
So the way you have to look at it is, yeah, not everybody is racist, but Trump a lot of Trump supporters like to defend his verbal choices, the choices that he verbally makes, and
Right.
says that it's new and it's refreshing, because in a way it actually was. I'm pretty sure that there's a bunch of people that when Trump said that he was running for president, they was like, oh man, this guy's fucking hilarious. But we all in the back of our head also said, he'll never make it. We enjoyed
Yeah.
the shit show until it became
Yeah.
a reality. And
You know,
good.
no, you go ahead, finish.
For the most part, yeah, when it got closer and he started to, um, show that he might actually become president, I was terrified, man.
Right.
Like, what? There's nothing scarier than a dangerous man that doesn't know how to hold his tongue.
Exactly, and we see what happened. Right. Like,
Mhm.
and it didn't even take one day.
No.
I know where I was at the time. Right out a military post, right outside of Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
People up and down the streets with their Confederate flags and their American, which is mm, mm.
Mm.
Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
As a military person, I can't understand. Anyway, and like, I would see the level of animosity that was given to non-white people for about 3 months. Like, before, it was just kind of like, there's some homeless people, there's this, there's that, but then it really felt like there was this ooze, like this
Empowerment?
ooze that was filling the air because of everyone's felt privilege. Because this guy became president. And so when I hear about today, like, president said this, president said, bros, when he was elected, before he said anything, people were already like this. So the tribe that he was with followed him, and that tribe is still out there, and that tribe's never gonna go away. I don't like when I left religion and left all that stuff, I became kind of this cynical, I don't know, I became a real Debbie Downer, I guess is what you could say. Like, everything that anyone said, I had to come with a counterpoint, and I still do it to a point, but I try not to just be an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But seeing the tribe from the outside, you realize the trappings that bring you into the tribe that you belong to. Okay, so
What were yours?
my tribe,
You're trapped that allows you to like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, like, for me today, is that what you're asking? Like, how do I feel about my tribe,
yeah,
quote unquote? So I feel the same way about what I'm telling you. Like, there are trappings to being who we are. There are ways that people use our feelings to manipulate us to feel and act a certain way. So when I look at this, is going all the way back to where we started with Antifa. um, when I see groups like that who, in their name, they say we are anti-fascists. Well, you don't need to tell me that we should all be anti-fascists.
yeah, pretty.
I mean, we literally fought 2 wars about fascism, right? You don't have to tell people you're anti-fascist. Everyone should be. The fact that there isn't doesn't mean that we need a group of people to then become fascists against the fascists. We're going to eat ourselves on the left. Our tribe is going to destroy itself because we keep slipping into this belief that just because there's an opposite opinion or whatever means it's equal. Everything is not equal. And that's not a popular opinion, but everything is not equal. And I'm not talking about look, there are certain people that are going to get jobs and are going to go to the very top. And there are certain people get the exact same job in another city and not go to the top. It does not mean that they did not have how do I put this? It was fair in its in the way of its equality. Let's put it that way. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you I'm losing my train of thought here.
Hang in there, man.
Yeah, see, this is part of my problem with my mental problems.
Well, we're generally talking about equality and how it's not fair. It's not equal.
It's right. So, you know that old it's what was it they used to say back in when they had segregation that was separate but equal?
Yeah, that no.
Yeah, that's called not fair. Right? Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be equal. What it needs to be is fair. Everyone needs the same opportunity in which to achieve whatever is the next thing in their life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything is not equal in life, but it should be fair. I don't expect to be the CEO of a company ever. I don't have that ability, right? So it's not a matter of me if I put an application in against someone who does. No, it's not fair. But if we talk about equal, then you would say, well, both those have to be considered, right?
True.
So it's one of those opinions that when you say it, it's kind of horrible on its face, right? Because it is. But at the same time, it's true of our society. Things aren't equal. We try to make things fair.
I don't think that we're doing a good job on the word fair.
I don't either. But that's what I'm saying. Like, nothing's ever going to be equal. That's the unfortunate reality. But making it fair for everyone, this is the Antifa, all them guys, like, they're doing a disservice to us. They're wearing masks. They're out bullying people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly the same thing that they say they hate. I mean, I have a tattoo that represents something similar. The words on it are from the last paragraphs of this book where the guy was talking about he's hunted something so long that he's realized he became the thing he hated. You know, it's when you delve into the depths of hatred of something instead of trying to just understand why people feel that way. I don't have to agree, like the racist thing. I don't have to agree with anyone that's a racist. I don't agree with anyone who's a racist. But here's the thing. If we just shout at each other back and forth, oh, you're racist, you're wrong, you're racist, you're wrong, that's all we're doing. We've been doing it for how many hundreds of years now?
What? Yeah, only to make a slight point, but that's because it was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that in this day and age, you just can't just run around calling people racist just because you feel that they're racist. Even if they are, it's not getting anywhere. It's not
Right.
making a point.
Exactly. So, I have a friend who I absolutely know, in my heart of hearts, is the most racist person I know. Okay,
All
like
right.
I know, I shouldn't even say friend. I know a guy. All right.
You know a guy?
Who will tell you to your face, oh, I'm not racist, you know, blah blah blah, and then go on to tell you why he believes why certain things should just be separate. And like you have to stop and think and go, he doesn't even realize
That he's racist.
that he's racist. Like he doesn't see how this thing that he believes, because it's something that he believes, he doesn't see it as being racist. So when you say to someone, oh, you're just being racist, and they're like, I'm not being racist, I'm just trying to explain to you why blah 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 blah, listen to them. Listen to what they're saying, because what they're going to tell you is the reason they're racist, and that's the thing that you need to change. Is that belief, is the thing that is leading them to have this I'm not racist but comment.
And what if I told you that that's because of religion?
It is. It absolutely is.
All right,
Bro, we could have a long podcast on that.
you know what's funny? I was talking to somebody at work. He's a extreme religious person. He actually agreed to come on the show. I would love for someone like yourself who was trying to become a pastor but didn't, because you know you awakened something in yourself to
Yeah.
realize that that's not the case. But I can't have a show with just me against him. You know what I mean?
You should never have a show about anyone against anyone. That's what the other problem is in society, is we have these shows where it's like Maury Povich or whatever, where it's like
no.
know what's coming. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
like,
gonna be a
you know
fight.
what's
Yeah.
coming. Instead of coming on and being like, look, and this is so. Do you know who Sam Harris is?
I heard the name. Refresh me.
So he's a neurobiologist, a big atheist. He's one of the four horsemen. You know, Dawkins, Dennett, Hitchens, and Harris. Like they were considered the four horsemen of the new atheists, or what. But he has a podcast called Waking Up. It's based on his last book, which was about meditation, which was about non-religious meditation. Just the fact of meditating and how it improves your life. It's an amazing book. Now, this is the guy that's racist.
What?
I loaned him that book. So like on Audible, you can basically send someone a book for the first time, like if they're a new member or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he did that, and I sent him the book. And like the day after I did that, he's like, oh, I had to delete that book. I couldn't listen to that shit anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? And like to me, I'm like, I gave him this book because I was like, this is the most judgmental. It's just talking about meditation. It's like all he talked about was how this, religion this and religion that. I'm like, bro, he was just saying why you don't have to be religious to meditate.
Yeah.
And he took it as an assault on his belief. So it's It's that thing, the assault on his belief that has to change. That his misunderstanding of what was trying to be put forth because of the way we look at it. And we do it all the time. We all do it as human beings. We do it every day. We see something, and based on the way we were raised, we grew up, the society we come from, all those factors is how we react to it. So you can't just go, he's a Republican, he's a racist, end of story, period.
No, you can't.
Yep. All of that to come back to that.
Only a slight point about your friend. A lot of. I'm not even
He's
gonna.
a guy I worked with.
Nah, I'm just gonna go with what you called him when you first introduced him. But
I say that about everyone though. Like Facebook is like my friend said.
not me. I know the word associate.
Oh.
That's my favorite word. I have very little friends. I actually consider you my friend, and we've gamed together for a long time. And your intelligence is not below par. And now I don't have a problem with unintelligent people as long as they're willing to listen. About your friend, with his attack on religion, a lot of people don't get that you can be a spiritual person without a religion.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
And you know the people who try to tell you that's wrong are the same people who try to tell you that they're not. It's not a religion; it's a relationship. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
You just don't want to say you're Christian because Christian, you feel that Christians are persecuted right now or something.
They're
right?
they're not at all. They're still the most powerful religious force in the world.
I know that it's silly to me that people think that when in today's age, if you even say atheist, people are, what happened?
Like
until that stops. I mean, come on.
I'm not exactly.
What happened? What happened? I read the Bible. That's what happened.
Yeah, honestly, the Bible, if you look at it subjectively, just for the information you have in there, they have a lot of "Thou shalt not kill," which you shouldn't be doing in the first place. It is not our right to be killing people. What?
Do we want to delve into the religious argument?
Nah, we saving that for a later standpoint. I'm lightly touching on it. I don't want to.
I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel that a lot of people just they when you read something for yourself, right? Because there's a lot of families that they start in religion, their parents pretty much passed it down, to them. But when you read something for yourself and you're like, I don't interpret it that way. Society kind of goes, you're not following the general norm. You're a weirdo. You get low key ostracized and excommunicated. And it's not what happened. I'm talking about it from my own perspective. I questioned the book quite a bit. I said, what about this? And it literally says, yo, it's okay to have slaves, guys. And I'm like, and for such a holy book.
And that's the thing that's the hard part. If you literally sit down with someone who says that they get their morals from the Bible and start asking them about all the morals in the Bible and be like, okay, this is what God did on this day. That's cool with you? This is cool with you? This is because if we make it direct, because people's religion is kind of like their
coat of armor.
But it's also like their voting preference. It's also like their political party. Like, you're not allowed to talk about it, but yet we talk about it.
Yeah.
Politics and religion, you can't talk about that at the dinner table. It's like, but everyone does. Like, everyone talks about it, but you're not allowed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not allowed to criticize my
beliefs.
Why not? Like, you're doing it to me because you don't believe the way I do, and therefore you then are criticizing my beliefs. So when people come at you with that whole, oh, you're being disrespectful, yes, so are you.
Yeah. You're not respecting my thoughts and beliefs because your religion is telling you so. You know,
And
like
that's the same way it is with politics. So once you start getting into it, when you start really talking about the issues, you realize that people aren't lockstep in the party that they really belong to. Like they say they're gonna vote this way because they have a belief, and for Republicans it's abortion. Let's just be honest.
oh man, I
Because it, and like they think like like all Democrats are like for abortion or something. Like they can't
no.
get past the fact that abortion is a religious issue. Okay, and the majority of politicians at least say that they're Christian, right?
Hmm.
So um, that shouldn't even, like, if that's your thing, it's like, well, abortion's my thing, so I have to vote for this thing. It's like, well,
Nah, that one cause shouldn't be enough for you to just go to a
right.
particular
You should
side.
always vote. That's why, like, yes, you have to read. Like, I don't know if New York is this. Like, in Arizona, I have to register as a Democrat, right? Okay. And if I want to vote outside of my party, I have to specifically send in for ballot for the other party.
Hmm.
Now, I think in New York, you can actually. Well, I know it. I think it used to be because when I used to listen to conservative radio, um, I remember Sean Hannity talking about that he was registered as a conservative, not a Republican, and which I thought was great because that does away with the party identity, right?
Yeah.
Because you can be a conservative Democrat. Like all you're saying as a conservative, well, what it used to stand for anyway, it was fiscal, you know, how to spend our money wisely.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Now you have to be a neo-Nazi. I don't know. But that's all it used to be. The difference between Democrats and Republicans was the difference on how we treat people and how we deal with money. Like those were the things. It's like, okay, Democrats are gonna work out these social issues, and Republicans are gonna work out these money issues. And somewhere we have lost all of that, and now we're just building debt upon itself.
Um, I feel like you know, I gotta be careful with the terms I feel, cause you know when
Do
speaking,
you though?
you wanna know why? When you're talking to somebody, right, and they give you a lot of quote unquote opinions instead of fact, they don't their opinions are not as valued as somebody else that talks facts all day.
Yeah.
And that's why
Okay.
I have to be careful with the terms feel. I think the best way to express yourself is to name a fact and then express the fact instead of just talking about your feelings.
It's hard though.
It's really fucking hard, and it's
Yeah.
mostly because you know people have they
Because
escape.
we're human, and feelings is the way we express ourselves. That's why we kill people. I mean,
Uh,
like it's. I agree that that's how we should interact with. Unfortunately, we have places like Wanda and Zimbabwe and places where they believe in witchcraft and they're just fucking people.
oh, as far as I know, those practices are cultural. So I wouldn't even say it's religious. Like,
It's a belief. It's a belief that causes people to commit horrible acts.
uh,
That
so
that's where that's religion to me. So Christopher Hitchens had the great line where he said, um, you know, it horrible people. I'm going to paraphrase this, but it was like horrible people do horrible things, but it takes religion to make good people do things.
But even if it's not religion, people could do anything just for their regular belief. You know,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's why we have the unite the right or whatever
oh,
masked fucking white socialist craziness. That
yeah, that shit's scary, bro.
do you ever draw the comparison here? Like, People flip their shit when people take a knee for the anthem.
Yeah.
But motherfucking white supremacists walking down the nation's capital, cool, First Amendment. It's
Yeah.
like, what? It's like if you're gonna be outraged, see, here's another thing with me that I try to do now. Like, I'm really trying my hardest to be consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I say I'm against, if so, if I said, if I'm one of those people who's like, I can't believe kneeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time,
Support the KKK rally.
I have no feeling whatsoever. Let's just put it that way. No feeling whatsoever about the other march. What does that say? It says a lot.
It does.
Because what you don't say says more about what you really feel than the things that you usually say that come out of
It's an expression that's usually said. It's usually say that your silence speaks louder than anything.
you.
So,
Silence speaks louder than words.
hey, I believe that women shouldn't be raped or anything of the sort. But then a mass rapist comes out of nowhere, and you're not out there fighting or fighting or even bringing attention to the situation. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
it's a
I know.
thing. It's a, yeah.
People will defend their belief. They won't. They have such a hard time contradict. And this is where I feel that as a person on the left and a person on the right have a clear distinction. Okay, I think people on the right, because I was there, are very much introverted about how they actually feel about things, and more extroverted about the things that they say because other people agree with them, or other people will agree with them, or if they say it this way, then blah blah blah. On the left, you have people who the filter from their brain to their mouth has expired, right?
Okay.
And so on the right, you have generally, and now we're going to get into the statistics again that people don't like to talk about. You have generally better educated, older individuals. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say better educated, I don't mean like they went to 8 years of college versus 4. I mean they went to Harvard versus community college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't mean that they're smarter. I just mean they're higher in the league of, when you think of, if I had cancer and I had a pick between 3 doctors, you absolutely know how you would make your decision, right? In
Yeah,
your
not
head, you know that,
not
okay,
the community.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by. So on the left, you have people who are much more academically involved with social issues, with the arts, with, you know, the things that don't necessarily make you money, you know, but make your life better. So on one side, you have people without a filter who just express their emotions as they see fit, and then tell other people that they can't also have emotions back at them. And then on the other side, you have people who kind of reserve saying anything outright and know that on the back end they're in charge. And the other side is going to make themselves look ridiculous enough that people will be fed up with it. And that's why no one cares when Donald Trump calls Omarosa a dog. Like, it wasn't 2 years ago we were making mention of, like, oh, Hitler said this and that. You can make direct quotes now to when Hitler called people dogs. But yet, those people who back him are gonna be like, oh, that's different. That's that, and they do it because we do it too, and we need to stop doing it, and we need to stop making excuses. People who are wrong.
I don't know if that will happen, and
Right. But
it should. I agree.
but me and you can do that, right?
What you mean?
And then the people we interact with maybe can see that, and then the people that we don't know that they interact with can see. I know it's that leftist kind of nostalgia, but that is the way grassroots is supposed to work. Someone has to like the people who say, well, why recycle? It's already been made. Well, that's not the point of recycling.
No, it's not.
It's just because something is doesn't mean that that's why we should just keep on doing or not doing the thing.
Yeah.
So you have to change at some point. Someone has to change, and right now I don't see that it's gonna change until we get someone in office doesn't insult the entire world on Twitter.
That's he's not gonna stop. And
No.
yeah,
And that's who he is, right? Like that is the guy. Those people who elected him, they elected him for that reason, because he's quote unquote not a politician.
no, I said it once. I'll say it before. The moment you take office, you're a fucking politician. Doesn't
I agree with you.
yeah?
And that's why you can't. That's why they're inconsistent, because he is a politician. So they can't keep saying that. Oh, he's not a politician. He's not a politician. Yes, he is. He's the president.
Yes, he's the number one political guy.
He's the number one guy, and he's saying shit that's insane, and that you would not have let President Obama get away with. Oh no.
Oh no! If Obama said any of that, like he would have,
God.
God forbid, because I don't want nobody to die, but the amount of anger that people would have had would have led to his death.
Do you think you think President Obama says the N-word?
I'm 90% sure that he says the N-word.
I'm 90% sure too.
I like
Even though he's a Harvard graduate. You want to know why?
why?
Because of the people he interacted with in his life, doing the things that he did, working inner cities, all that shit. He became who that community needed, right? So there are leaders become leaders, right? Like, so look at what's her name? That young chick now.
From where?
From Illinois, Costa, the one everyone's freaking out about because she says she's a
Oh, I know you talking about. Yeah.
yeah, she's like the youngest person ever. Like she's like 26 or some shit, right?
Yeah, she's young as shit.
And so like everything I look at when someone posts like, I can't believe she said this, and I look at it and I listen to it, in my head I have to have two different conversations. I have to go, I agree with everything she's saying. Like, what's wrong with what she's saying? And then on the other hand, I have to go, okay, what's the other side see wrong with this? And then I have to kind of think about how I want to talk about it to people. Because based on who they are, I have to tailor that idea, right? To bring them to the same outcome that I'm at. Now, people could say that's manipulation. People can say whatever. But that's just human nature on how you convince people that you're right. And we have two parties, and both can't be right, but both can be wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But both can't be right. So you have to take a stand all the way back to the very beginning. You have to take a stand for something, or you literally are taking a stand for nothing by saying nothing.
That's pretty much what it is. Like if you're working with somebody, right? And let's because technically the United States is not a country; it's a corporation. Yeah, but yeah, you read that. I hope you read that. Like that we're legit not a country. We are a corporation. We have
Oh,
been. Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Oh, I know. Just
That
like we're not a democracy, no
we're a
matter how much
Republican.
people,
Yeah,
we are a republic.
yeah. We
Exactly.
always have. Even
Thank God we are not a democracy.
oh, if we were a democracy, I'm pretty sure we would have failed
We wouldn't be
hardcore.
talking right now. We wouldn't
No,
be talking right now
I
because we would have. You wouldn't even be here. You know what I mean? I mean that's the fact. If that was the route, you know what I mean?
hmm
That's what would have happened.
Yeah, 2 to 1. I think. Yeah, no, I think y'all are 3 to 1. To be honest, like we would have got outvoted out the country if that was the case. But for the
I,
most
I,
good.
you ever find it funny? You ever like sit there and listen to a person that you're listening to and they're just racist as shit, and then they want to tell you about their their black friend or their like their Latino friend or what? Oh no, my black friend, blah blah blah. Like I had to explain this to someone at work the other day, black guy, and because he kept saying my white friend, my white friend, my white friend, right? And now it's two black guys talking to each other. So in my head, I'm like, I get it, right?
hmm
I get it. If I was two white people, they say, Johnny, the black guy, right? Johnny, the black Johnny. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, there are groups of people out there who, upon hearing something like that, would be like, oh, that's just racist.
No, it's the fastest way to identify a person.
It is. It is. But then also, you cannot be inconsistent with that belief. So when someone else then refers to someone by their whatever identification, you can't turn around and be like, "Oh, you can't say that." Right?
Uh,
I mean, am I out of place there?
I
A
don't
little
know.
bit,
It
right?
depends. It depends on how you describe somebody. But for the most part, I'm with you. Like,
Like I'm talking about like, okay, so for him, my white friend, my white friend, my white friend. So what happened was at lunch, there was another group of people, and someone said, "Well, my friend, so oh, she's Asian, blah blah blah," and the same guy who was doing the white thing, my white friend, said, "Hey, you shouldn't say things like that." And I was like,
that
that's really inconsistent. And I don't think he even knows it.
you know why? It's kind of like. Do you know the difference between prejudice and racism?
Yes, yes.
Do you think?
Everyone has prejudice.
Yes.
Everyone has a predetermined thing about anything. That's why some people like sour foods and some people like sweet food. Like, it's your prejudice. Racism is just like prejudice is based upon something. Racism is based on what's the word I'm looking for? Inaccuracies, lies. Let's just call them that.
Um.
Prejudice is like, I like orange, not yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Racism is orange is less than yellow because orange is predisposed to violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is how racism becomes racism. So you can like so in the military when we teach these things, because we do it a lot, you learn that, especially in the military, we're all prejudiced. This is why we make fun of other military branches. So you'll see Army guys making fun of Air Force guys or Navy guys, or all the Navy jokes. You know the jokes, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying anything new to you that you don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a prejudice. My tribe is better than your tribe. I like the Green Bay Packers. You like whoever you like. My team's better. No, my team's better. That's a prejudice. You're prejudiced because you grew up with this thing. Now, if you turn it into um because of if you make it about aspects of a person's life, that becomes racism, right?
They sound very similar. Like the way you're describing it, it sounds very, very, very similar.
Yeah, because we're all prejudiced. I mean, otherwise we'd all like the same things. We'd all hate the same things. We would all, want to go to the same movie, stuff like that. Like prejudice is not a bad word. Prejudice is just a definition for something we call something else. We call
Oh,
it what I like or what I dislike. I mean, that is what a prejudice is. If
I,
you don't like something, you're prejudiced against it. It has nothing to do with not liking it for reasons that go beyond um I don't like coconut because of the way it tastes. It's not because it grows on a big tall tree. You see what I'm saying?
to a certain degree, yes. I think, well, from my point of view, like, prejudice is more like you see somebody dressed, regardless of their race, their color, whatever the case is, they're wearing clothes inappropriately. Like
Correct.
it's summertime, they
Right.
have
You don't like it.
hoodies, and they're wearing hoodies and they're
Right.
wearing paraphernalia, and you go, I'm prejudiced against those people because there's a chance they might hurt me.
Yeah.
Racism is knowing about a group of people and based on their skin color, culture, or any other regions that you might have prejudged them, you hate them. And yeah, sounds like
It's when you apply your prejudice, which was they're wearing gang colors, to a specific group of people because gangs aren't just one race, right? We know that. There's Mexican gangs, there's black gangs, there's white gangs, there's right, but
name a white
yet
gang, by the way, because I
KKK.
oh shit, I wouldn't call them.
Damn, son.
I wouldn't call them a gang per
That's a
se.
gang.
That is,
That's a gang.
they're a
Think of how
government.
they form. Think of how they form. That is a gang, man.
As much as I want to say that they're a government approved group.
They were a government approved.
They
Because remember, you can go online and look at pictures of Washington D.C. when the KKK marched in the 50s at presidential elections and all sorts of shit, right? Like that was the norm of the society. And for the people going back to the tribe thing, for the people who weren't racist, right? How do you think they felt living in a society like that? So I understand that everyone is prejudiced, and I understand that some of those people take their prejudice to a racist level.
and
They don't apply their prejudice to everyone, they apply their prejudice to a certain one, right? That's racism.
now
Whereas, like how you said your prejudice, like I see they're wearing gang colors, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to walk across the street. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if
they're
they're
white or whatever.
right?
Yeah, whatever culture they're going through, they look dangerous. I'm
They look
prejudging them.
way
Yes.
that I am predisposed to because of my prejudice, and
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go, hey guys, how you want to buy some Bibles?
Oh,
like,
can I walk through here? Can I just walk through all of you guys over here?
right? Like it was I forgot who the comedian was. It was he was on. And he was talking kind of about this subject. He was like, why do white people always feel like they can't say what's on their mind? He's like he's telling a story about like his friend. He's like, my friend was telling me he was walking down the street in New York and he saw this group of people and he had to cross the street because he didn't want to cross the street because he didn't want to seem racist. And he said, motherfucker, you could have got mugged. He's like, you should have went across the street.
I would
Like,
have.
exactly. Like there's a difference between being racist and and using your intelligence to
Survive?
be able to see a situation, right? Because people pretend like, I don't know why people pretend like there isn't white violence or something. Like, no one says
White on
like,
white violence? Ah!
right? I
Per-
hate that shit.
per-
Black on black. Like, oh my god, yeah, crime. How about crime on crime? So
Just for a
so
quick statistic,
yeah,
86% of Caucasians that live next to each other have extremely violent tendencies. It's not. It's not. It's not. Oh, I don't like Jimmy or something like that. So
is it
I'm.
is it
It's
is it
proximity. It's
is
proximity.
it
Nothing else.
is it but see, there's other stuff involved in that. I feel like you just said all white people did it, right?
I
Like,
said 86.
statistically,
Uh
by
huh.
the numbers, you are correct. This is where the argument happens, though, right? This
I'm
is where
listening.
Sam Harris gets in trouble, because they're talking facts. They're saying, "Hey, 86%. These are the studies, right?" And people will be like, "Whoa, well, what about X, Y, and Z?" Well, we're not talking about.
No,
We're
we're
not
not.
talking about that. We're talking about Caucasians that live next to each other are 86, whatever.
Yeah, it's not as hot.
But
Yeah, it's
at the same time, you have to understand that what else does that study say? Like, is it males? Is it females? Is it kids? Is it older people? Is it like there's
ooh.
all sorts of stuff. So when you do that, it's like when you hear the guy on Fox News who says, "Well, the people in the hood need to clean up their streets." It's like, motherfucker, have you ever lived in the hood? Like, you don't think those people
Tried?
you just think they walk out there and be like, "Ah, fuck it, I live in the hood, fuck this place."
No.
No, that's not how it works, man. Those motherfuckers are trying to live their life just like everyone else. And the unfortunate part is that this society has caused many of the young youth in those societies, those inner cities, to turn to the source of money and income that is prevalent in that area. Right? You have to provide. Like, I don't ever hear a white person ever be like, "Yeah, I had to provide for my family, so I had to sell drugs. But it was to provide for my family, guys." Like you know what I mean? Like you never hear that.
No, you
never
don't.
hear, like, they just assume black people are out like selling drugs because they just want to sell drugs. No, it's because in the society for which that particular individual grew up, that was the decision that that individual took to live their life. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, that was the path they chose. That doesn't mean everyone in the inner city is choosing that path.
Not
No.
even close. It's
Not even close.
it's
Just like all white people aren't evil. All the 1%, right?
oh,
There's some good people, I guarantee,
in the 1%.
in the
I-
I think the people we think of in the 1% aren't even in the 1%. I don't even think we know who the people in the 1% are. That's how like I know we can go to Time magazine and look at the richest people in the world and all that, but let's be honest. When you read those names, who the fuck are those people? Right? Like, who are they? How did they get all this money? Where does all this money come from?
oh,
And the problem is people like those. I don't want to. Okay, I will. So let's just use the Rockefellers because that's a name everyone kind of knows.
Mhm.
I'm not saying anything about the Rockefellers. I'm just using the name. Okay. The Rockefellers are rich beyond belief because back in time, their ancestry was able to establish a wealth making program which is still working today. Now, what you have on the opposite side of that is a whole society of people who were brought to this country against their will, were not afforded any opportunities at that early stage, and have only been given opportunities in the past 70 years in which honest opportunities in the past 70 years. And so, yes, the top percent are white people, right?
Yep.
That doesn't mean, though, that it's all dirty blood money, right? It's just that other people didn't have the same opportunity. And
Agreed.
that's what's lost today in when we have these conversations about the rich and the poor. I think there's a lot of people I know that believe they're in the middle class and they are not.
Oh.
They are poor. Okay.
Uh, Give you
Everyone.
real quick for
Yeah.
those that want to do a quick statistics numbers. If you're making less than 50K a year, you're actually poor. The middle class starts at 110K.
Yeah, it's 58,000 to 100,000 is so that's the median for the
Yeah.
low to middle class. So the low middle class to middle class. So 110,000 to 270,000 is like upper middle class.
Yeah.
And then you actually, the statistics are really weird because you would think it'd be like, okay, then 251,000 be no. It's like, and then if you make millions a year, like it jumps substantially. So it's even when you look at the numbers, you're like, the difference between the people I think are rich and the people who are actually rich, like
Are
rich,
dramatic.
like Paris Hilton, where you just have money. You don't have to make money, you just have it. It's just making for you because of your ancestry did something right. Or at the time did something that allowed you to flourish in your family. Now, I am not knocking any of those people. I am all for that. I don't think I'm all for the free market. I wish our government was, but we're not because we keep bailing banks and shit out instead of letting the little man come up. We always say we're a capitalist government, but we're not. We're not because we don't allow capitalism to work. Because in 2008, when all that shit failed, we would have let that shit go straight to the ground and another company would have came and took its place. That's how capitalism works. We're in an oligarch.
I'm not familiar with the term.
Everything is run from the top down. That's not how our country was built. Our country was built for the people to elect its leaders to run the government in a way that benefited the people. But now we elect people and they just run amok and make laws to enforce upon us. I don't want to sound like I'm a radical or anything. Not. I don't. But I'm not a person who is blindly allegiant to any ideology, though. Whether that be the luck of the birth that I was born in the USA, it doesn't make me better than the guy who was born in Turkey. You know, this whole USA, USA. Yeah, I am proud to be an American, sure. But it's an accident that I'm American. Right? Like all these people about this immigration and shit, maybe they forgot how this country was. You know, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their ancestry immigrating here or being taken against their will and brought here. Either way, they came here because people chose to seek a better life. And just because I'm American and there's someone to our southern who has a shit life in a country that's very hard to live in, and they can just come over here and work for peanuts and still make better living, that should take into question how we treat people.
Oh, it seems that we forgotten that. You
Yeah,
know,
I get a little emotional about, not emotional. I get a little heated about certain topics when it comes to that, because I feel there are people that are treated
less than.
differently than other people. Yes, less than. And I don't like to say less than. It is in a way, but it technically, I mean, if we're being real, by law, it's not. Okay, by law. That doesn't make it right, though. I mean, slavery was a law too,
Yeah.
right? Uh, the the fact that we have freedom of speech is only written on paper, and all it takes is one person to overturn our current government, and that goes away. So and we know that can happen. We've seen it happen in history, where dictators come to power under the guise of whatever, and slowly turn the people against certain sections of the society that would normally have just been fine. So when I see our current president calling our newspapers, the enemy and all this stuff,
Fake news.
I can only think that the people who adamantly agree with him, who regardless of what he said, he could kill someone on stage and they'd be like, yeah, they deserve that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people who became the Nazis in the 30s, right? It's not that they were bad people. It is that they allowed themselves to think they belonged to a tribe because they wanted to fit in with that tribe. I don't believe that there's anyone who purposely in their life hates people just to hate them, right? I believe everyone that hates something has a reason they hate it. And if you find out what that reason is, it's usually wrong. If it's, about people or whatever. It's usually wrong, and it can be changed through education or through just actually coming in contact with the people that you claim to
Hate?
dislike. You know who Daryl Davis is?
No, I don't.
So on Netflix, I think there's his documentaries on there. He's the guy who has basically gone to the Ku Klux Klan, right,
Mm-hmm.
and convinced many of their members to not be Klansmen anymore. He's a black guy.
Ah, yes. I think he's a large, tall black guy, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how tall he is. He's kind of large, though. But there was a part in that documentary that struck me than the Klan part, and I think that's what the documentary really was about. I think that's what Daryl Davis was really trying to hone in on. So they were at I think it was Boston. It was somewhere, and there was a rally of some kind. I want to say Black Lives Matter, but it probably wasn't. But we'll just say Black Lives Matter, okay? And so the two organizers sat down with Daryl Davis, and through the conversation, you could see these two young men turning the way they think about Daryl Davis. Because when they sat down, they were like, "Here's here's a guy who sees things the way we see. He's a member of our tribe, right?" And as he's talking to them, you can physically see them deciding that he is no longer a tribe. And they get up and walk away, and they basically tell him he's Tom, all these other things. And it's like, wow. So we're never ever gonna change all the people's minds, and it sucks, but what do we do, right? All we can do is try to change our life and the people that we directly interact with.
Well, with things like podcasts, that's generally out there. Like hopefully through our discussions and maybe people that I'm not gonna be as ambiguous to say and listen to our podcast, like, hey, well, maybe the blacks are not so bad, I'm,
Those blacks.
nah, I'm looking at it from a standpoint where people like me, we grew up in two different places. We
Right.
we we, we have two different belief systems to a certain degree. Me and you were kind of close, especially when it comes to mentality. But
Right.
I was raised in not so fortunate environment. So, like, the things that I've seen and things that I experienced will be a lot different than yours. The fact that we can see eye to eye on anything is actually a blessing in itself. And the fact that we can have this conversation here, maybe people will think about it. And that's all I really ask for. Like podcasts, a lot of people's like, well, I'm here to make money. I like talking to people. Like, I like to hear their opinions, what they think, and that's why I was asking you such questions. And believe it, nowadays, me asking you about politics is actually a personal question, and it blows my fucking mind because politics is so social that it being private doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It
That's what I
does.
said. Like that whole religion and politics you can't talk about. That's all anyone talks about anymore.
Yeah, that's what we are. Like, hey, what religion are you? And
Exactly.
you say anything other than Christian, it's gonna be a weird
See, and
conversation.
I don't tell people. See, and like when I meet, so for me, for instance, I find it funny when people of faith say, "Oh, well, you just surround yourself by people who think just like you." Um, Actually, I'm surrounded by people who think just like you.
Yeah.
Like my non-belief is in the majority, right?
Mhm.
Like the majority of people say they are believers. Whether they are or not, I don't know. I have a I have a sneaking suspicion that the majority of laissez-faire
Mhm.
believers aren't necessarily believers. They just want to belong to that tribe.
As in, like, they're searching for a group to.
Yes, because belonging to a group is a good feeling. I mean, think about like there's no getting past like when you go to church or when you go to a group, like the feeling people get in church when it's a if you've ever been to like a really good like Baptist church, Southern Baptist church or something, like that feeling you get is energy. It feels good, and they whatever they call it the Holy Spirit, blah blah blah. But you get that same feeling in a rock concert. You get it at whatever it is that you go to that where you're surrounded by other like-minded people feel the same way about whatever the topic is, right? So this is why rallies and protests and shit get heated and out of hand because mob mentality then takes over. Okay, and so the where were we? Man, I
we're
feel like
we're
I feel
talking.
like
Honestly,
this is where
we've actually been
we've been
talking.
all over the place.
Oh, well, it's all about talking about a bunch of different things.
Part of it is like in my head, I'm like talking, and in my head at the same time, and this is just how my mental illness kind of works. It at the same time it's like you're not even on topic. This isn't the topic. Change the topic. And then
Nah,
I forget even what we're talking about, and I'm just like,
no, you know what's.
racism.
Well, we was actually talking about culture and our culture for the general
Yeah.
point, the American thing, and we actually covered a lot of the topic at hand. We talked about originally Trump and how we think that as a president he could be more presidential, and we talked about the implications of society on how we view um, our standard of how we treat other people, as well as the lawmakings and the groups and the sides. We've literally stood on topic. Yeah, we may have brought some other stuff into it, but we were on topic. And another reason why things seem a little sporadic because we're past the 2 hour mark for this. Yeah, I shit you not. I glanced at the timer and because I try to have it around like 1 to 2 hours, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, we blew past 2 hours.
I can talk, man. I can talk.
Yeah, I could hear that.
You can see why I was on the route. You know?
Yeah.
The
I-
gift of gab.
Yeah, it's something. It's something that makes people want to like enjoy themselves. You know, like when you're listening to somebody else, especially for perspective. Maybe you agree with some of the things they say, or maybe you don't. But it's all about the understanding of another person, and that's pretty much what this podcast was about in the first place. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to wrap this up
Sounds good.
for time's sake. But I definitely want to have you on another show, especially.
I'll
the-
be on any show you want me to be on because I can pretty much talk about whatever we end up talking about.
That sounds beautiful. That's what I was looking for in the first place. And definitely if you want people to I believe that you have a business that you're starting up. So if you want
Well, I want to actually talk to you offline about that since you want to wrap this up. So
yeah, all right.
some other time we will discuss that and discuss it.
I have no problems with that, and I appreciate you showing up today.
because I do want it to be like a business. Like I want us to make money. So
Well, we'll get there eventually.
all right.
You know, and
I'm not expecting us to be, Philip DeFranco tomorrow.
no. Like everything takes time. I'm pretty sure once we both get enough time around the public, we'll pretty much influence each other to become better. And that's what.
Hey, do you happen to know who Philip DeFranco is?
Yes, but very
Okay.
vaguely.
Okay. I would say that his YouTube channel, he does like a news thing every day,
Mm-hmm.
where he gives you both sides and then his opinion. Is probably the best news thing I get all day. Because he just says, "Here's the facts. Here's what I think about it. Next story." It's
That-
great. Check him out. Check him out. I think you'd like him.
Philip DeFranco. I'm actually gonna look that up soon after we get off this podcast. So I would love to say thank you again, and hopefully, well, it'll definitely happen. We'll keep in contact, and we
All
will
right.
we'll cover different subjects, or we'll just shoot the breeze. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
We could talk about what we both know directly, and that's gaming. I would love to have
Yeah.
another one. The second podcast was lightly on the politics of it, but just to sit down with some
We should just
gamers.
pick a game. We should just pick a game
Yeah.
and like, record it or something. Like I don't know. Like you probably know how to do all that capture stuff. I
Yeah,
don't. So
I got
maybe we
it.
just pick a game, Cat Quest or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely down for that. But we're gonna do that pretty sure. And everyone, thank you for showing up, just listening, just shooting the breeze with a good friend. And we did cover a couple topics. I look
Yeah.
forward to spending time with you guys again. And if you guys have any comments, any questions, just leave them down below. And don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time. Until then,
Peace.
peace.